Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Somebody had written a message to me and said that they heard that sourdough cultures and making sourdough bread is difficult. And then my brother told me that one of his family members finally got the culture down, but she baked her bread and it was raw in the middle. There are a few steps that you have to learn if you're dealing with sourdough cultures. Number one, sourdough culture must always be fed when you're getting your culture started. You have to use bread flour. Now when you go to feed it every morning, you have to feed it bread flour. That's the flour that they want. Now you have to put it in a special ratio. If you don't get that ratio of water and flour right, you're not going to be able to make your sourdough culture. I'll be making one this spring when I can open my windows for about a week to 10 days. And then I'll show you how to do it. Another thing is you keep it in the refrigerator. There's also different kinds of culture. If you make a whole wheat culture, if you use corn flour, that culture is made different. Then you have the sponge culture, and then you have a liquid culture according to your recipes. Now another thing people don't know about sourdough is it needs 2 12-hour rises. So that's when I sit there and I make my sourdough. I show you how I start it, and then I tell you this evening, do this, and then we'll make the bread the following day. This is how it is. So you have to remember those steps. If you don't, another thing is that when you're proofing and bringing your yeast up to the point where you can use it, you have to use water and the flour of whatever bread you're making. You cannot add milk, you cannot use sour cream or anything until you get it totally where it's proofed to where you're ready to make the bread, and then you can add certain things to it. You can also mix your grains up when you deal with these sourdoughs. This is where women used to have to take the bread out and go tap, 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 and hear the hollowness. If you don't hear that certain hollowness in the bread, you know it's not done in the middle, and they would put it back into the oven. I also have noticed that when I work with corn, I don't have to sit there. Another thing, you never cover your sourdoughs when they're doing their 12-hour rises, or when you're trying to start a sourdough culture. It needs the air because you've got over 400 and some odd microbes in the air. And what you're doing is saying, come here, come on here. You know, I got something for you. You can live here. That's what you're doing, is you're attracting them where they get trapped in there and they make their home in there. Now when you deal with corn flour, it's different because it's an ancient grain that you're working with the way grains used to be. So you can sit there and there's a certain ratio. Again, you put it in a jar and you seal it up and put it in a dark spot, and you have to feed it and work with it. And I'll show you how to do that as well. I have to buy some more corn flour once I get that freezer unpacked. So I've already made mine, then I'll show you how to make that. That too has very long rises. But these are some of the simple steps. Once you know these steps and you work with them, they'll work. Because I know that my brother's relative, well, she's my relative, branched off by him, that I know she was excited she finally got the culture down. But then to go through all that work, and when she cut it open, it was all raw in the middle. She didn't give it enough time to rise. And this is a big problem. So we will be practicing that, like I said, as soon as I can open my windows and get those microbes moving, because the spring is the best time to capture them, because the air is moving and the microbes and everybody's hungry. The flowers are out there, so believe you me, they take very well. The last culture I made, which I'm still working with, took me 15 days because it wasn't at that time. And the one before that, before I forgot to feed it, you know, so these are things that you have to do. So I feed my sponge and my liquid culture every day. When I get my corn up, I only have to feed it once a week. You see, when I do the whole wheat, that's harder because it can go bad quicker. So there are other sourdoughs. They use potato water for sourdough. Some people use yeast, let it collapse and bring it up again. So there's different ways, but I'm going actually with the one that goes out in the air, or an corn I use. So we'll be practicing that at the time, but that's the answer to the question to the young man, I think, who asked me that question, because it says Daryl, so I assume that's a male. Okay, so listen, take care and have a great day, and I'll be cooking in a little bit, so see you then.